I've been putting this off for a while, but the Bible says I have to do it, so I'm going to go ahead and explain to you why it is that we have to deport everyone who is not white. Okay, first and foremost, they predominantly vote for socialism. Socialism is the most destructive form of government. Okay, communism. Okay, now with that being said, I don't know what the difference is between our race and their race, because I know that our race is only voting for capitalism out of subconscious bargains. But at the same time, those subconscious bargains worked. Look at them, they didn't. You know what I mean? So there's got to be something different there. But it does lead me to suspect the possibility of being, as a result of a primal urge to preserve your own race as a violent bargain. So I don't really know. But with that being said, like I said, they want universal basic income. There's probably 100,000 people working for the government. They're not going to be able to, pay for 300 million people lifestyle or, cost of living and everything else. So what I'm saying is that's totally unrealistic, but you're not going to corner them with logic on that subject. You're not going to argue them into a corner and have them say, "Oh yeah, you're right." They just love it and they're going to go with it, and you're just going to suck it up and have to deal with whatever it is that they want to fucking vote for. Okay. Now that's not going to work out for everybody. Okay. Even them. Now, on top of that, they want universal health care. Okay. So let's look at Canada. This is from what I've read online, firsthand accounts. You go on a waiting list. You might get to a doctor in 6 or 7 months. The doctor is a quack because there was no competition to sort out who was the good doctors from the bad doctors. You just had to take whatever the fuck they gave you. Okay. That doesn't work either. Okay. And so you're not gonna argue them into a corner on that. Okay. They love it. They're gonna fucking vote for it and everything that comes with it. Take my guns. Fuck it. Okay. So that's not good. Okay. Now, on top of that, there is a difference in the rate of reproductivity, okay? These people have children at a higher rate. What's the destructiveness of an atom bomb? Because one atom splits into 2, then 4, then 6, 8, 16, 32. Holy shit, before you know it, it's a lot. Boom, big boom, you see? So the problem is with them is that you've got this group of people that's getting bigger and bigger all the time. And at the same time, they're just committed to socialism. Now, not only socialism, but with African American people, they want to live off the fucking government. You see what I mean? And they want their housing paid for. They want their car, they want, spending money, housing, pay my grocery bills, all of it, no shame in their game. You understand? If you go to certain parts of the country, you'll find just an ocean of burglar bars. And all these fucking people living on welfare. You wouldn't believe how much fucking money that we're paying on just shit like that. Most of the tax money, it's just, you pay taxes to that. So somebody can be fucking worthless, living with no purpose in life. You see, they can't even be happy like that. You see what I'm saying? So that's a problem, okay? Now, with that being said, there are additional problems. African American people are very loud. Now, you don't have to be around them, granted, okay? So that's not really a problem, you know what I mean? But if you end up in a situation where you have to be around them, within a couple days, you're going to be wanting to blow your fucking brains out. Okay? That's not a good cohabitation type of situation. Okay? In addition to that, they don't bathe regularly. And like I said, you don't have to be around it, so it's not really your problem. But if you wind up in a situation where you have to be around it, such as jail, then you're not going to be having a very good time. I was in Denver County Jail There was about 100, 150 people in this tank. The first tank they put us in when we got there. And there was this long line lining up for food. I went to the back of the line. There was a lot of African-American people at the back of the line. I've never smelled anything so horrendous in my entire life. Okay, it just, that's what nightmares are made of, to be clear with you on that. Okay, in addition to that, they're highly sexually, I'll call it sexually overactive. Okay? So that's, like I said, that's their deal. You don't have to be around it. But if you wind up in a situation where you have to be around it, it's a problem. Okay? Because like me, when I was in jail, you know, if I had to like take my clothes off for a shower or something and be in the same room, you know, it's like, gotta keep my back, just like make sure, you know what I'm saying, keep my back to them, because they will look at your ass, you know what I mean? And if they can't see your ass, they'll look at your cock. You know what I'm saying? Even straight guys, it's weird like that. They have to constantly like beat off in front of other people. You know, the guards and stuff like that. It's just constantly going on. So, like, they'll even let them know, I'm beating off. It's like, oh shit, are you serious? You just told her that? You know what I mean? So it presents a whole range of issues. And in addition to that, when you got this many people voting for socialism, that hamstrings the entire democratic process. It's like, you know, I hate to say this, but if you look at the right wing versus left wing, it's like, almost like, well, hopefully enough of us can join the right wing. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, if we could just get that, you know what I mean? And that's not, you know, that's not a good aspiration to be left with as your only hope. You know what I mean? It's just to get a fucking Republican in office. You know what I mean? Because, of course, they love the war on drugs. They love all this shit. So what are we left with? It's like, do you want to live with this shit or do you want to live with total devastation shit? Slavery or total destruction? You know, people getting kidnapped off the streets or total fucking destruction? And that's literally what's going on. Okay? And so we need to get them into a situation that works for them. We need to get them under a government that works for them. So far, what we've come up with, and I've worked with the aliens on this, they came up with some of it, and I was just thinking of it, and yes, that's what you needed. So, but it was, they get to vote, but they only have white politicians to vote for. And that's the law. They cannot have anything else. And then simultaneously, this is something I came up with, but they said it's a good idea. Their Supreme Court justices appointed mutually by the United States and Japan. And then we put something in the Constitution that we're prohibited from taxing them, but it probably will never be necessary, but it probably give them some peace of mind that will never be resorted to. And then they can be in their own place, you know, where they're around their own people, having prosperity, having wealth, having their own thing. I think they would be happier with it as well. So, but anyways, yes, this is all the reasons why we must, and it's just got to happen. You know what I mean? Even the Asian people. Now, if you look at the poll numbers for Asians, they predominantly vote for Democrats, socialism. They just all love fucking socialism. And so Asian people in Japan is a different situation because they have China right there. It's a high population density environment. And so they have an adaptive response because the morale issue becomes so bad that now it becomes ingrained in their culture, commit suicide if, you know, for any kind of bullshit. Even if it's 1,000 people, fight them all to the death. And it says in their literature that this can be unexpectedly successful. That's a lie. You can't fight 1,000 people and win, okay? But what they're saying is, see, I'm not afraid of even killing myself. I'm not afraid of fighting all those people Because if any kind of fear is shown in that environment, it will spread like wildfire. And they're highly intelligent. It's how they evolved. You know, they evolved for high intelligence, but they didn't evolve for inherent government acumen. So if you take an Asian person and you put them anywhere else but Japan, they're not going to have a good government. But if you put them in Japan, all of a sudden they have, acumen when it comes to that kind of thing. And so Japan has strict gun control and still has one of the lowest homicide rates in the world, that's an anomaly. That's very unusual. Nowhere else, no other race, no other location does this happen. If you take people's guns away, violence goes up. Well, especially with the Caucasian races. Actually, with some of the other races, it seems like it doesn't even matter. But anyways, the point of the story is that, we've got to get things sorted out over here, and then we can go from country to country and sort things out over there as well, But, foundationally, the United States needs to be in order to have freedom spread anywhere, So, but anyways, so that's what's going on. And that's why, ultimately, and I don't like to go into this kind of stuff. I used to think about talking about some of this stuff. And I did a bunch of meditation, like 4 hours a day for months. And I was so full of righteous indignation. I would get on and I would make these videos just screaming curse words and how, all these people were causing all these problems. And then I would be like, I can't even put that on the fucking internet. You can't do anything about it, But anyways, at this point, they're going to do something about it. And this is why they're going to do something about it.